What is going on, others? This is CardFightKing of the OververseSVE here, and we are bringing you today my budget dirt deck, or my budget Earth Rite Runecraft deck. If you guys know Runecraft, especially if you play the GTC, Runecraft is really separated into two different factions. You have your Spell Change, Spell Boost faction, which utilizes a lot of spell cards during a match to power up followers or activate stronger powers of your spell cards, but depending on how many spells you use. And then you have Earth Rite, where you utilize magic sediments in this game, but really just amulets you put onto the field that have a stack ability, where you can stack the amount of Earthright that you have on the full board, and then you destroy those Earthright amulet cards or stack numbers in order to access more powerful abilities for your followers or your spells. So it's really just two decks that can enhance themselves in different fashions. And today we're going to be obviously looking at Earthright. I think this is a really fun deck. One of the things about this deck that really separates itself from D-Shift, like, yeah, D-Shift you self-X turn, but D-Shift is a little bit more reactionary, where you're just trying to utilize a lot of spells to set up like a OTK kind of turn with your Flamethrower stuff. This one definitely uses a lot more followers, has golems, so it has a lot more wards to protect you against certain things, to help keep your defenses up. This deck definitely has some great burn damage with your Ancient Alchemist, your Demonic Strike and things like that. So again, the way I wanted to construct this budget version of the deck was, obviously I looked up some prices for legendaries, golds and things of other cards, but also wanted to make sure that this deck stuck to what its core game plan is: to destroy Earthright's access abilities, control the board with your golems, and then be able to get your Ancient Alchemists out there, burn them down, or Erasmus to hit boards, burn them out, and things like that. Really fun deck, really just an awesome deck for the format. I think this is probably the most consistent Runecraft deck that you can play right now, in terms of not relying on just the OTK strategy of D-Shift whatnot, but also but just having a very solid game plan from the beginning towards the middle, towards the mid range. I think D-Shift is definitely better at taking decks into the late game, as opposed to what this deck is good at. Really, this is just more of like a big mid range type of deck. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So our first Earth Sigil, Earth Rite card is Teaching of the Creation. This is a perfect turn one play, just unstack, draw card. It has a stack ability, draw card. And again, what stack is that you can tap, if you have multiple for on the field, you can just tap the card, add whatever the stack is on that card to another one of your Earth Sigils or cards with stack on it to increase the count. So right now it comes out with stack 1, and anytime you add a stack, you just increase a number for it on there. But there's just a turn one play. Get your Earth Sigil out there, your Earth Sigil amulet out there, draw a card. Now you have now you have that. Then we have Crafty Warlock, another fantastic card for Earthright. He's just a good turn 2 play. Get him out there. If he dies, he gets to summon a Magic Sediment, which is just another Earth Sigil with stack, and then you can pay 1 to evolve him. He's a 2/2. When you evolve him, he'll be a 3/3 with the same last words to summon a Magic Sediment token, but it'll let you put an additional one on there, and I'll show you guys when we get to it. Fire Chain, just 2 Fire Chain. Again, it's another way just to, you could deal 3 to something, hit 2/1 against like a Floral Fencer that spawns the 2 bodies. Just a good generic Runecraft card just to help control boards. Then Alchemist Workshop at 3, another good stack card, but it summons a Strike Form Golem. And what a Strike Form Golem is it is a 3/2 Golem that has Rush. So you can get this on here to go 3/2s. So a lot of times, opponents do is that they'll go okay, turn 1, drop Bell Ringer, ward up. It's okay, cool. You can drop your Alchemist Workshop, which is an Earth Sigil as well. Drop that, spawn a Strike Form Golem, swing 3 into the Bell Ringer. Yeah, they get their draw, but now you've cleared their Bell Ringer. Your Strike Form Golem has not taken any damage, and now your opponent has to worry about, with their 2 play points or 3, how are they going to deal with your Strike Form Golem, because then you can use Strike Form to hit them for a valuable 3 damage. So yeah, definitely Alchemist Workshop, really good card there. And then you have Ancient Alchemist. Now, Ancient Alchemist is one of your boss cards for the deck. It's a gold card. It's a 25-cent gold card. So don't worry, it's definitely budget. But she is definitely a boss card. Now, the difficult thing about this card is that her evolve is for 3. She is in a very expensive evolve. So if you play her out early, she does have 5 health, so she is a pretty beefy card. So she can definitely take a lot of hits, especially if you get her out turn 3 early game. But she is an evolve for 3, so it can be pretty pricey to evolve her. But on Fanfare, her Earth Rite is so that you pay your Earth Rights, you destroy one of your Earth Rights, you put 2 Guard Form Golem tokens into your EX area. This is very, very key for what she wants to do. Really, what she wants to do is you put the 2 Guard Form Golems into your EX area, so that during your next turn or the same turn, whatever it is, you can bring them up, and they're just going to be 2 threes with ward. Right, 2 attack, 3 health with ward. But her Evo is what makes that very important, why she is considered a boss card in this deck and why her evolve cost is so expensive. But we'll get to her evolve shortly. 2 copies of Demon Flame Mage. Again, we don't like decks that to go wide against us. We want to just have a card that can easily deal with some spread damage and clear a lot of bios before. This card is really good against Sea Queen Otohime. They go Sea Queen Otohime. They evolve her. Put 4 1/2 wards on the board. You drop the Demon Flame Mage Evo, clear all her wards off board. Yeah, really strong. Then we have Runic Guardian. So this is one of our other Earth Rite cards. They get power off of performing Earth Rite. So it's a 3/4 with ward. You drop it turn 3. And you'll see like the archetype for them. A lot of the Earth Rite cards are alchemists, which is really cool. But you choose one of the following effects. Earth Rite, you can give this follower +1/+2. So if you pay one of your Earth Rites, this becomes she becomes a 4/6. She can be really, really beefy, a really, really beefy ward. You can actually use her as an attacker too, where if you're at like 20 HP, she's 4/6. You don't need to ward her up. You can just leave her up there, and then then the next turn when you're ready to attack with her, you can ping your opponent for 4, and then you'll have that 6 health ward there, really strong. Her other ability is summon magic sediment token. So if you need to if you do Fanfare and you do play her out, if you don't have an Earth Rite out to give her that +1/+2, you can just summon a magic sediment token, get your Earth Rite up there, so that for your next follow-up play the following turn, you can utilize that magic sediment for one of your Earth Rite abilities. 1 copy of Demonic Strike in here is just a 3 to deal 3 to something. It's a very solid card. Again, this deck does deal with a lot of burn damage, so this is a card you really want to kind of look forward to saving kind of at the towards the end game, or if your opponent didn't play anything, especially if you're going against like a D-shift deck, you can just ping them for 3. The ping for 3 can come in handy when they're not really putting cards on board or anything like that, or you just need to deal 3 damage. But it's just a really a pretty decent tech card to have in deck. Like I said, this deck you're going to be burning your opponent with, you want to obviously burn them with Ancient Alchemist, and so this card can just provide an easy 3/3 burn. Then we have Price of Magic. It's our 3rd Earth Sigil amulet that we can play out here. That's not the Magic Sediment, which we have followers that can spawn them. So this one has stack. All of our sigils have the stack ability. But on Fanfare, you select the enemy follower with 4 defense or less on the field and banish it. Very, very good. Banish the Bell Ringers. Banish the Dragon Warrior Ileas. The things that have like the last words. Go ahead, banish them, get them off of the board. Fantastic, fantastic card. I believe I even increased this to 3 in my own dirt deck. But usually when I looked at lists, people play between anywhere between 2 and 3 copies of this card, which is the right number. But this card is fantastic. Just banishing something with 4 defense, really, really good. 2 copies of Erd. Again, I looked up Erd is like a 94-cent card. Her Evo is like $2. It's not expensive at all. It's definitely within the realm of budget. So she is a fantastic card. I got hip to her, through playing in tournament. So what she does is that she basically pushes. She's like Pain. almighty push, and she pushes when you fan for push one of your enemy followers into their EX area. Then when you EFO her for 1, you can banish a card that is in your opponent's EX area. She's just a really good card, easy removal. She'll turn into a 3/3, but she's just there for easy board removal. Gets rid of something. If your opponent drops something big on you, you have a hard time clearing it. Erd can easily clear that for you. She's such a good like kind of like mid game and late game kind of card to get rid of like a big buy that your opponent committed to. 2 copies of Execution, because in this deck there are some times where you still want to in turn, especially against Dragoncraft, you want to in turn with 4 up, threaten them, threaten the execution. You know, it's like, okay, you want to drop Genesis Dragon, here's an execution. You can drop a Fafnir, sure, you can Fafnir, white board, end of your turn, I'll pay 4, execute the Fafnir, and then I'm gonna go on and execute what I need to execute. So that's really why we do it. And I know execute's like, you know, kind of a harder card to find, but you know, it's a silver card. You should open it up when you should get at least 2, maybe when you open up your boxes or anything like that. It's not a hard card to find unless, you know, people are just buying them out everywhere. But it's, you know, it's a card I think that is definitely warranted and needed. You know, again, taking the dragon matchup into account. Really, that's really it. Outside of the dragon matchup, this card is kind of okay. You really want to save it for big bodies. If you're playing against sword, it's really good against sword to get rid of their turn committing the royal banner. It's like they commit royal banner, you commit execution, things like that. And then we have our first, like, kind of like Earth Rite-ish spell card, which is Golem Protection. So this summons 2 guard form tokens, which is our 2/3 guards. And then if you pay the Earth Rite, when you activate this card and you pay the Earth Rite, you can give each of them +1/+1. So you turn your golems into 3/4 with ward. Really strong card. It's a good 4-drop to play, just to get them out there. If you have an evoed Ancient Alchemist, oh, this card is sweet. Now, an interesting card here, I put in 2 Alchemical Lore. So what this card does is it just deals 4 damage to each enemy fallen field for 5. Again, sometimes with this deck, you do have an issue of dealing with white boards, dealing with certain things like an Evolved Forte, for instance, that has aura and whatnot. And what this card does is that it just deals 4 to that, and gets rid of field. Another card that's really difficult to deal with kind of is an Aurelia as well, like a pumped up Aurelia, because you're going to have amulets on the board and she can get her full abilities and things like that. But the Alchemical Lore is just to deal with white boards, just really be destructive. And I feel like Earth Rite is really good about just having that nice hard destruction. And I think this is the only this is one of the only Runecraft decks that you know, in set 1 right now that can actively play this card. I think at 1 copy or even 2, but I included 2 copies in here because I just wanted to have something where you can spend a turn, you know, pay 5 white board, and then then you can just go on from there. But again, if you don't like this card, if you want to change this out maybe for like an insight to draw more cards, whatever it is, you can definitely use this spot for that. I just wanted to add in just more ways of helping to do spread damage and clear the opponent's board. And then playing 3 copies of Juno's Secret Laboratory. Very good card for Earth Rite. Very good card. Now there are decks that just run 2 of it, but you know, that's like, you know, in a different version of the deck. But Juno's Secret Laboratory, so on Fanfare you can summon a guard form or a strike form. So either a 2/3 card with ward or a 3/2 card with strike. You can tap this card to summon a magic sediment token, so you can get, you know, you can get an Earth Rite stack onto the board, or you can tap her, pay an Earth Rite to summon a guard form or a strike form golem token. She is one of your best generators. She's not a card where you want to put multiple copies of her on the board. You really want to get 1 copy of Juno's Secret Laboratory on the field, because she's going to sit there for pretty much for the entire game and generate you either magic sediment tokens or generate you golems. So she's just a fantastic card. You want to make sure you have her in the deck. You definitely want to see her. You can cut her down to 2 if she starts to get a bit cloggy, which she can get, because again, you don't want to have multiple on the field really, but it's a card you definitely want to see you know, on curve as well. And then I'm running 2 copies of Mithril Golem. So one thing is, he's a golem. and that's very important for your Ancient Alchemist. He's a golem. Two, this card does deal. Now you're not really gonna get the spell chain 7 off the deal 5. You're definitely not getting the spell chain 15 off the deal 5 to each enemy leader either. But he's really just in here, one, because he's a 5/6 golem that you get him in the starter deck, and he just deals 3 damage. Again, what I wanted to look on this deck was like, okay, Abyss, Sword, the hyper aggro type of decks, we can drop this on them, deal 3 to everything. A Chemical Lord, deal 4. We can hit their spread so that we can clear the board, so that we can have ways to do things. And again, the Mythic Golem is a golem, and that plays a huge role in our board. Plus, if you're able to drop Mythic Golem, he lives, and then you can use your Golem protection. You can make your Mithril Golem a 6/7. With the paying the Golem protection Earth Rite ability. Very, very good. And then we have our legendary follower, the other boss card of the deck, which is Arc Summoner Erasmus. I did look him up. He's about $1.40. His SL is like $4. So if you wanted to pick up the higher rarity version of him, I would probably just go ahead and scoop him up now. I might even just go ahead and do that. But what Erasmus does is that on play, Earth Rite, you select an enemy following the field, you deal 6 damage to it and 2 damage to the leader. So you're gonna pay him for 7, pay an Earth Rite, hit something for 6, blow it up, then you're gonna ping the leader for 2. Again, this deck definitely has some burn damage to it, which is really, really nice. And then for his Earth Rite, you can tap him. So even in the same turn, you can tap him, pay another Earth Rite, and then you do the same thing. Hit something for 6, ping the leader for 2. So you can burn. So basically, you can hit 2 things for 6 damage and burn your opponent's leader for a total of 4 damage in a singular turn by summon and then by resting him. He comes in very clutch, especially if you've been poking them down, dealing them some early damage. He can come in late game and really just establish board control again and hit your opponent for some burn damage. So for the Evolved deck, we have Crafty Warlock. Again, like I said, he'll summon a Magic Sediment token, and then he'll add to a stack. So he'll basically bring out a Magic Sediment token with an extra stack. So it'll be a 2-stack Earth Sigil. This again, Ancient Alchemist. I have it at 3, but you're really going to go into her maybe twice. But Ancient Alchemist, such a good card. This is definitely the other boss. So what she does is that while she's in play, all of your Golem followers cost 1 less to play. Again, when you play your Golem followers, like your Earth, your strike form or your guard form Golem from the EX area, they cost 1 less. There are 2 play point tokens. They turn into 1 play point tokens. If you have her on the field and you have your Mythic Golem, he'll cost 5 instead of 6. So again, he'll be a lot easier to play out. Not only that, but whenever a Golem follower is put onto your field, so just putting a Golem follower onto your field, you can deal the enemy leader or follower in the field 3 damage. You can summon 2 guard form golems, put them on the field. You're gonna hit them. You're gonna burn them for 6. You can drop this onto the board, burn them for 3, and deal 3 spread damage. Juno Secret Laboratory. You can tap this for the Earth Rite, summon a golem, burn them for 3. Your Alchemist Workshop, summon your Strike Form Golem, burn them for 3. She is just an outstanding card. She's a 3/6, so she is definitely beefy. Pretty hard to get rid of. You don't really attack with her until you're kind of like pushing for game. Really, you just want to keep her up there, summon your golems, and burn them down. There's also a spell card, Conjure Golem, which is a 1 play point spell card. So they put a golem in your EX area. You can do that. You can do that just to save some golems in your E. You can play that like, okay, you want to play that, maybe cut out an execution, cut out Alchemical Lore, play that. Or cut out like a Juno's Lab, whatever it is, play that, and then use Conjure Golem, because that's also a decent turn 1 play you can do as well, just to put put a Golem, a Strike form, or a Guard form in your EX area, and then maybe you can bring it up with your Ancient Alchemist later. But that's really it. So you really want to look forward to burning your opponent down with her. Demon Flame Mage for the spread damage, and then obviously we have Erd to you know, to push something, to banish it from the EX area. But that is the budget dirt deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Hope the explanation was good enough for you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.